Darating. Darating pa. Ha? Sige. Okay.
Silent. Kailangan. Pwede i-flight mo, baka hindi mo katawag si DJ, malasin ako bigla. Meron kami yan. Marta. Yan lang. Dito kami. Scroll it, ano, swipe it down. You'll see the settings. Yan. Airplane. Oo. Depende sa model.
Diyan. Mga kaibigan, we would like to begin our second anniversary presentation of Wednesday Roundtable at Lido. But before going into the details of the discussion, may I call on Monsignor Pepe Quitorio of Areopagus Communications to lead us in a short prayer for everyone, as in Thanksgiving as well, for making it for 2 straight years. Monsignor?
Let us Heavenly Father, we are glad that we are here. We thank you and we bless you for your goodness. Thank you for the last 2 years that this forum had been on air, so to speak. We thank you for all our guests for the past years, and also we pray for those who have been part of this forum, who have gone ahead of us. Have mercy on their souls, and also give us more strength so that we can go on, allowing to continue the conversation so that we'll be able to shape shape public opinion and help that way in its very modest way in development of this country. Bless all of us. Bless our listeners, our viewers, and this we ask you through Christ our Lord. Amen.
Thank you, Monsignor. Mga kaibigan, sisimula na po tayo. Ah, isa po sa mga outstanding participants natin, member of the panel noon, ay ang namayapang Senador Letty Ramos Shahani, who shared her views about the West Philippine Sea and the arbitration decision of the arbitral tribunal. So we also remember all our friends who have gone ahead of us. Let's begin our discussions today. Mahalaga po ang isa sa mga programa ng Pangulong Rodrigo Duterte. Ito po ay may kinalaman sa kanyang relentless campaign against illegal drugs. And we can only sympathize with the President because the concern he has shown only shows the determination to rid the country of this pestering problem. Well, the Philippines under President Rodrigo Duterte launched his relentless campaign against illegal drugs as soon as he took hold of the administration last June 30, 2016. Thousands have been arrested while 1,000 others surrendered. Several thousands were killed in what's reported to be legitimate operations. A number were considered deaths under investigation. The campaign has caught the attention of foreign governments and international media, which definitely generated colorful language from President Duterte. Ano ba ang sitwasyon ngayon? Yan ang ating pag-uusapan. Ano ang naganap, ano ang nagaganap, at ano pang magaganap. With us today is Director Derek Arnold Carrion, spokesman of the Philippine Drug Enforcement Agency, representing the Director General of PIDEA, who is in Davao, I was told. And we also have with us Ms. Teresita Angsi, the founding chair of the Movement for the Restoration of Peace and Order. It appears that this is still a challenge today. Attorney Ramil Gabao, the chairman of the Board of Criminology of the Professional Regulation Commission, we invited him to share his views on how the police ought to respond to the issue. We're joined by Assistant Director Carl Cesar Rimando of the National Barangay Operations Office of the Department of Interior and Local Government. We also have with us Attorney Sikini Labastilla, officer in charge of the Caloocan City Anti-Drug Abuse Office. We're joined by Senior Superintendent Bedia of the Philippine National Police. Engineer Ronaldo Liveta of the Commission on Higher Education is on his way. But let's begin the discussion. Can you please give us the situation here? How is it today? Director Carion.
Yes, sir. Good morning, sirs, ma'am. On behalf of Director General Aaron Aquino, we have the latest figures that were released as we are still collating as of yesterday, all data ending as of June 30. So as of May 15, the government, through its law enforcement authorities, have conducted a total of 99,485 anti-drug operations, resulting in the arrest of 143,335 drug personalities, and of which 4,279 have died during law enforcement operations. We have confiscated 2,678.61 kilograms of methamphetamine hydrochloride or shabu valued at 14.34 billion pesos. We have a total value of confiscated dangerous drugs apart from shabu that is worth 20.77 billion pesos. Recently, sir, we have dismantled an additional 3 clandestine shabu laboratories in succession, 1 in Ibaan, Batangas, and 2 in Malabon, bringing the total clandestine laboratories to 12. We have dismantled 180 drug dens and a total of 192 in terms of drug dens and shabu laboratories. Noteworthy is also our accomplishment on the arrest of government workers who were arrested during anti-drug operations in violation of the anti-drug law. We have 506 arrested government workers, 48 of whom were uniformed personnel, 217 elected officials, and 241 government employees. And as of May 15, we have rescued 698 minors. Sir, in a nutshell, while we have observed that clandestine laboratories still abound in the Philippines, we have also observed attempts to smuggle drugs through the different ports of entry, as evidenced by the series of confiscations and interdiction operations that have been done in tandem with the Bureau of Customs and other authorities at the airports and seaports, and as well as 8 incidences of cocaine bricks washed ashore in different parts of the Philippines. So this is the picture of the drug situation in the country. Law enforcement efforts have been very vigorous, together with harm reduction programs spearheaded by the PIDEA in tandem with the local government. Like, for instance, in Caloocan, we have recently launched the Balay Silangan, which is the NCR leg of this harm reduction program. So Director General Aaron Aquino would like to bring to the fore that the government is doing all it can do in tandem with, of course, stakeholders from both government and the private sector, so that we can address this problem and deliver the President's promise of a drug-free Philippines, sir.
Thank you very much. And that's just the opening statement. From the Philippine National Police, it's been reported that there are deaths under investigation. Would you be able to tell us your facts and figures about legitimate police operations? And, well, of course, yung mga nanlaban, what have you to say? Senior Superintendent Bedia, please.
Good morning, everyone. I am Police Senior Superintendent Dominic Bidia, the Chief of Public Information Division of Directorate for Police Community Relation, PNP. Actually, sir, on our part, we are in charge only of those surrenderies. So I have a data here, and we are in charge of a recovery and wellness program accomplishment only. So for those figure, another directorate in charge for that, sir.
Oh, really? So what have you to share
For
with
now,
us today?
sir, we have a total number of surrenderies here, about 1,273,000 8,444. I will give this data to you, sir.
Yeah, okay.
And the number of surrenderies who graduated from this program for the PNP initiated is 90,333 as of June 25, 2018. And for PNP supported program, we have 123,867, meaning there are some groups in charge for this initiative, and the PNP is supporting this program, like in Caloocan. So the total recovery and wellness program graduated is 214,310, and the percentage is about 16.83%. So the PNP is still continuously doing its part in giving chances for those surrenderies so that they will be part of a community na magiging responsible individuals in the future, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much, Senior Superintendent Dominic Bedia. Sa National Barangay Operations Office, what have you to say? How are our barangays today? Director Rimando.
Magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat.
Umaga pa lang po tayo.
pala.
Umaga pa lang.
Sa ngalan po namin kalihim Eduardo Anyo ay humingi po siya ng dispensa dahil bigla ho may pagpupulong sa camp crabbing sa ngayon. So sa NDILG po, out of the 42,044 barangays, ay 42,029 po yung ating merong organized na barangay anti-drug abuse councils. Yung 15 po from the NCR and the Region 5 ay kinasuhan na po ng admin case sa Ombudsman at sa ngayon po ay hinihintay po namin ang kanilang kasagutan. And the DILG as of now ordered also the reorganization of the BADACs dahil katatapos na po ng eleksyon. Inaasahan po namin na not later than July 31, magkakaroon po ng 100% organization ng BADACs at magkakaroon po ng assessment ang functionality ng ating mga BADACs simula po ng August 15. And also, we have passed JMC Circular number 1 ng DDB at DILG to strengthen the BADAC. So, sa ngayon po, statistics, lahat po ng MADAC, yung po Municipal Anti-Drug Abuse Council, lahat po ng CADAC, City Anti-Drug Abuse Council, lahat po ng PADAC ay 100% organized. Yes, sir.
Very good. What about allegations that certain government officials are into illegal drugs? Would you have something to, look into this? No?
Sir, PDEA po yun.
PDEA na yun?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, ano po nangyari dun sa mga local government officials suspected of being involved in illegal drugs?
Sir, we have filed cases against those who were, yung natanong po sa atin nung after the release of the 207 barangay officials, of which we have already done case build-up on a number of them. So cases have already been filed. We're still doing continuous case build-up on the others, and do eventually, with the intent of eventually filing appropriate cases for violation of RA 9165 and other applicable laws, sir.
Okay, coming from the community, how do you look at it, Madam Teresita Angsi? Would you care to react to the facts and figures?
I have 3 points. They can answer maybe later on in the program. Number 1, you see the 100,000, they said arrest, okay? And not to mention the more than 7,000 killed because of the drugs campaign. So my question is, what happens, for example, to the orphans of the victims killed during the drugs campaign? Orphans, young children, let's say below 15 na lang. Especially the young children, infants and young children. What happens to them? Shouldn't the community question how come with all the killings, it continues? The drugs career, the drugs, everything continues because many of them are left with no other alternative because there's no safety net after the parents or the breadwinners were killed. That's question number 1. Question number 2 is the jail congestion. You see how many already died in jail. It's well and good. You have how many arrests? More than 99,000 arrests. Well and good. Where do you put them? Is it possible to just put them in the Nueva Ecija Rehabilitation Center? All of them, just put them there. So you already pour the money there for the rehab. Those who cannot be rehab, then put them in jail, let them suffer. But that's the second point. My third point, what happened to the shabu that's been confiscated? Okay? Because I used to be very active in a very good anti-drugs program. Mamamayan ayaw sa droga. I think
Umayaw na kayo?
it
Hindi, what I mean is umayaw na kayo sa
Mama
advocacy.
may ayaw sa droga. Yeah. I think it is still, for now, I think the program that we did, for now, is still the most effective campaign against drugs. Not the killing, because Colombia showed 100,000 killed, but did it solve the problem? It did not. It's development and education that would solve the problem. That was the focus of Mamamayan Ayaw sa Droga. Mothers Against Drug, Mamamayan Ayaw sa Droga. So the program, not just to cut the supply, but most importantly, to cut the demand. So those 3 points. Thank you.
Okay, napakaganda. We'd like to acknowledge, narito na si Engineer Ronaldo Liveta ng Commission on Higher Education. Sandali po. Pakihila na po ng isang upuan natin. With your indulgence. Hindi, ito. Yan. Okay. Thank you. Please. Sandali po. Yan. Okay. All right. So, welcome and on with the discussion. The Ateneo de Manila University, through its Ateneo School of Government, came up with a study. And I would like to solicit the reaction of our gentlemen here. Kasama na rin yung ating iba pang resource persons. Ang sabi, there is little, if any, evidence that there are fewer drugs in the streets. Anecdotal as well as news reports say that the drug trade continues, although it has been driven underground. Would you care to react to this?
Sir, we respect the findings of our counterparts from the academe. However, as we've already mentioned, that drug syndicates, in fact, are attempting all other means to bring in their product because with the successful dismantling recently of Shabu laboratories, we've seen the resurgence of smuggling attempts in smaller volumes through the different ports of entry. And this clearly shows the difficulty. And even during our operations, I've been assigned to the field myself. And recently, it's been evident that transactions are getting more and more difficult in terms of volume and in terms of supply. Even the pushers that we transact with have been saying, "Boss, pahirapan ngayon," when they talk to our undercover agents. So as I mentioned, sir, we can see the different means by which drug syndicates are trying to bring in their product, especially with the heightened effort of law enforcement. But correct, the problem cannot be solved, and this has already been intimated by no less than Director General Aaron Aquino in many of our recent media fora and press briefings. It has been emphasized that this problem cannot be addressed by mere supply reduction efforts.
Okay.
And this is precisely why nagtatanong po sila bakit nakikialam ang PIDEA sa reformation program o rehabilitation. Bakit hindi naman trabaho ng PIDEA magpanukala ng drug test? Ba't pati drug test, pinapakialaman na. Ang problema, sir, kapag wala namang ginawa or hindi nagpanukala ang PIDEA, at the end of the day, for instance, if an incident happens in a school and it is found to be drug-related, what will the people start saying? Anong ginawa ng police? Anong ginawa ng PIDEA? So, that's why PIDEA, together with the PNP and other law enforcement agencies, in tandem with private stakeholders and the local government, have been diversifying our programs into balay silangan, into, eventually we will come up with a program on sagip batang solvent. Kasi pati yung mga nasa kalsada, pag nakita nila yung nagsisinghot, anong ginagawa ng PIDEA dyan?
Okay. Very well. Attorney Labastilla, sa Caloocan po, meron pa ba nabibiling shabu? Have you noticed any? Meron pa ba nabibili? Meron pa ba? May mga addict pa ba? Ano ba? Yes, please.
So, good morning po sa lahat. I'm the head of the Anti-Drug Abuse Office, Caloocan, which is the only functioning office in the Philippines related to drugs. Actually, CADAC mostly are operational, but there are no offices. So our office is fully staffed. We have a spanking new space in the new city hall.
Yeah, we've seen it.
You've seen it. You've been there.
You've had people. You have people to look
Yes.
into the cases.
My staff is composed mostly of psychologists. Because we're strengthening the community-based rehab program.
Okay.
And we even have a psychiatrist on board to emphasize the health approach to the problem.
Okay.
So that's really my my cup of tea. So when Kuya Melo called me out, he said,
Walang problema.
He said,
Dahil meron kang rehab program,
Yes,
pero
yes.
walang problema yon. Maganda yon. We appreciate that. Pero ang problema, paglabas mo ba ng barangay, meron pa bang nagtutulak? Yun ang isang problema natin. Dahil we can have the best facilities, we can have the best personnel. If there is still, this illegal activities in the area, baka mahirapan kayo at magpapatuloy ang trabaho ninyo.
well, our thinking there is that the supply will always be there. So we just have to keep cutting off the demand. Kasi tutusin lang po, the way we're structured is that we are wholly dependent on PNP and PDEA to help us on the supply. So they're in a better position to answer that question, whether they're in fact still, because as of yesterday, no, the other day, there was a new PDEA team that made a courtesy call to our office, and we tried to get in touch with. We set up an audience, no. So
Uh-huh.
maganda naman nangyari. At least lumaki na yung team, no,
Okay.
sa Kamanava. Opposed to dati, isa o dalawa na nakita ko. So there's that at least beefing up of the operation. And they are actually reporting that while the list of PDEA is going down, the list of PNP is going up. So dun pa lang parang may mahaba-haba pa yung usapan. We start with the watch lists.
Uh-huh.
And that list is very contentious kasi maraming maraming usapin yan sino yung pusher, sino yung user. So we're still in the process of validating the people in
How
that
long
watch
will it
list.
take for, let's say, your office to validate reports, raw reports that get in from the community?
So monthly, there's a requirement from the ALG that BADACs have to submit to CADACs list of drug personalities. No? That's every month, every 5th of the month. And they do so. No? All the barangays of Caloocan regularly submit. So that's our raw data. So we have a complete algorithm where he lives, yung mga ganyan-ganyan. And then that's directly passed to PDEA and shared with the PNP.
Uh-huh.
So hopefully nga na maayos na agad yung list kasi masyado malaking number yung disparity ng number. I think
Okay.
PDEA is like 5,000 and PNP started with like 20 yata. So ang laki ng differential. So we need to
Okay.
calm down. But
Hindi
we stand
kasama
by
yung
our
flying
number.
voters dyan, ha?
We stand by our number. Kasi maraming baka duplication, mga alias.
Okay. Alias.
Yeah, maraming
Okay.
aliases.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yung bang mga pulis natin, pag nag-graduate ba ng criminology, may kakayahan ba talaga to look into this? Aside from having common sense. Being with the Professional Regulatory Commission and chair of the Board of Criminology.
Good morning sa ating lahat. Meron naman. Kasama yan sa mga courses na in-offer namin. No? Of course, kasama na rin dyan yung mga investigation courses. No? Pero sa criminology kasi, base na rin sa mga research na ginagawa namin at pag-aaral. Pagdating kasi sa droga, pag sinasabi mong solution, it's relative. No? Maraming solution. There are two main approaches. It can be the liberal approach, not the politics liberal. I would just to clarify that. Meaning, we approach the solution to drugs with the purpose of rehabilitation, treatment, reformation, correction. No? Ironically, ang ating gobyerno wala namang Bureau of Punishment. Meron tayong Bureau of Correction. Precisely because of that liberal approach to offenders. No? The other approach would be the conservative one. Itong ginagawa ng pulis ng una, the tukhang. Enforcement must arrest. incapacitation, no, incarceration. Pero nagdudulot din yan ng problema. So ang tanong is, after 2 years, what happened? Did we solve the drug problem? Ang solusyon ay nandyan. Kaya lang, ang tinatanong natin is, ano bang expected na solusyon natin at maging outcome? Can we really stop drugs? It has been with us, no? So long as mankind exists. Drugs is about chemical, andyan yan. Ginawa lang nating illegal, kaya may move to legalize. Parang mga vices lang din yan ng alcohol, sigarilyo, no? Drugs is enterprise, negosyo yan. Since it is illegal, obviously, organized crime will take the opportunity to supply the demand. Kasi illegal enterprise, illegitimate enterprise yan. So kanina nga, tinitingnan ko, 20.77 billion Shabu value. That's talagang negosyo ito, no? And surrenderers are 1,273,000. So maliwanag na meron tayong problema sa droga. Siguro hindi lang tayo nagkakasundo sa pamamaraan ng solusyon at sa pag-determine kung ano ba yung outcome sa solusyon na yun na gusto nating mating. No?
Okay. Maganda yun. Sa Commission on Higher Education, you're with the Office of Student Development Services. Meron ba kayong nakita na very interesting number ng mga kabataan natin na nag-aaral ang nasa illegal drugs?
Magandang umaga, Melo, at sa ating kasama dito. Sa Commission on Higher Education, sa ating tulong sa administrasyon ay gumagawa ng paraan kung paano natin masusugpo yung drug problem in our country. Of course, ang aming jurisdiction ay higher education. Very recently, nagpatupad kami ng pulisiya para yung kabataan sa higher education ay magkaroon ng drug testing. Very recently, PIDEA announced drug testing sa grade 4 o year 4. Pero yun ay isa sa mga etikain para masugpo. Pero sa commission ay i-adapt po natin yung drug testing sa higher education institution. At kaisa ang commission ng lahat ng higher education dahil we've done the process of consultation at we want this to be transparent so that all those other issues and concerns na medyo hindi maganda sa pananaw ng publiko kung paano ang pamamaraan sa binabanggit ng ating mga kasamaan ay ma-address. So, yun yung mga pamamaraan na ginawa namin and positive naman ang naging ang response ng ating higher education. Sila ay tutulong sa pamahalaan para sa eskwelahan ay ma-implement yung tinatawag nating drug testing. So far, yung tanong mo ay meron na ba tayong nalaman na
Nasa droga.
involved na estudyante? With the enactment kasi ng batas ng 9165, nakakadalawa na yung CHED sa National Drug Testing Program. So nagkaroon tayo ng pag-aaral noong 2006 at noong 2009, 2010 at lumalabas doon ay very minimal doon sa aming process of random drug testing na na-involve o merong naging positive sa drug testing. So para mga 0.3% lang.
Okay. Maganda. Pero sa kabilang dako, sa DepEd, ang pagkakaalam ko, meron ng sumailalim sa sa drug testing ng mga taga-central office, taga-regional offices, at mga schools division offices. Meron na rin silang ginawang sample population ng mga teachers na umabot sa 10,000. Do you have the same sa Commission on Higher Education?
Nung yung binabanggit ko nga nakadalawang beses na.
Yun na yun.
Yun din yun. Pero yung una kasi, even the number of higher education institutions, sinampol namin. Ibig sabihin yung about 1,800 institution, nung first time, nung 2006, na random, ilan lang ang nakuha. Pero nung second time, sabi ng presidente, dapat lahat. Wag dapat nating hindi isasama lahat. And so, noong 2009-2010, medyo logistically challenging sa commission, sa DDB at saka DOH, sila yung kapartner natin sa programa. Ni lahat, 1,700 institution. Kaya hindi nakuha lahat dahil sa logistic. At lumalabas ay na-involved na estudyante, about 10,000, lumalabas na 0.3% lang. Mga estudyante, yung sa faculty kasi ay mako-covered na ng ano yan ng entity as corporation. So meron tayong pulisiya sa DOLE na dapat lahat ng corporations ay magkaroon din ng drug testing.
Babalikan ko yung issue ni Madam Tessie. Ano nangyari doon sa mga pamilya, mga naulila? Would you have a template for that in Caloocan City? Meron bang success story na nakarecover yung pamilya, napatay yung tatay, napatay yung nanay, pero nakarecover yung pamilya at nailayo sa industriya ng droga?
As a program, to be honest, wala po. We have to rely on the social work department for this, and we asked repeatedly what the national program is. They keep coming back with a negative answer. So it is a very pressing problem. The orphans and widows are now collated. Their names are collated in a private list, mostly run by the Catholic Church. Father Bong Serabia is, I think, the one running in the north, and Bishop Ambo David has his own list now in the south. So we do what we can to provide succor to these to these orphans, and right now in the form of monitoring, ano po talaga kailangan, schooling na we try to make sure na hindi sila maalis sa school, and but ano po yan paisa-isa.
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 Okay.
This is the problem that we're really pressing social work, both the local and the national, to address.
Okay. Yes. Would you care to react, please?
2 points. It's very revealing. Higher education, tertiary. If you are educated, if you reach college, then it's relative to that, the lesser you are prone to be involved in drugs. Okay? The second point, the orphans. So far, in all the communities that we have gone to and who have consulted, there's still no intervention for the orphans. That's why I'm saying, if you kill the breadwinner, then you produce 3 or 4 other drug couriers, drug pushers. Because, let's say, the elder brother, sagot niya sa akin, the answer is that we will die of hunger anyway. So we will just risk being killed by the police. At least our brothers and sisters are fed. At least they can still go back to school. So maybe as a challenge, no? We want to solve the drugs problem, but we are creating a much bigger problem to solve the drugs problem. As a challenge, ask how many of these orphans still go to school, can still afford to go to school? How many of them have 3 square meals a day? Okay, we kill their parents, but what are the interventions, the safety nets for the family? Sometimes it's the uncles, the aunts. That's why we cannot stop it.
Okay.
From 4,000, it becomes 8,000 because we have no intervention for them to go to school and to help them cope with no breadwinner. They go out in the streets.
Yeah, and that is in addition to the stigma na ang tatay mo pusher, nanay mo pusher. So may stigma na yun, lalayuan ka pa ng komunidad. Pero balikan ko yung isang pinakahuling issue tungkol sa pulis. May 3 pulis na nangikil. At doon pa nagkasuhulan sa himpilan. At halos bugbugin sana kung wala lang daw camera, nabugbog ni General Eleazar yun eh. Ano kaya nagiging dahilan, anong pumapasok sa isip ng isang pulis na magbangketa ng kaso? Bakit kailangang mangikil doon sa sinasabi na ganito, na may kaso? Ano tingin mo ron, attorney?
Dapat yata yung sumat.
Sa'yo muna, sa'yo nag-aral yun.
Okay. Ang palaging, anyway, we have been to the Senate, subject na rin investigation to in the past. And paulit-ulit na rin din namin sinasabi na maraming involved dito na mga reasons, no? Obviously, kung doon sa education, wala yan doon sa mga courses na ino-offer namin. Obviously, no? Hindi namin tinuturo yon. Kung bakit pagdating sa service ay nagkaganyan, ang ang palagi naming sagot dyan, as well with PPSC, is that what is it about the organization? I guess it's high time na rin na yung organization, the PNP should look into itself. No? Anong merong subculture kayo dyan na yung isang napaka-inosenteng motivated, nag-aral ng 4 na taon, nag-prepare ng sarili niya para maging police, isa-sacrifice niya yon, 6 na buwan pala sa service, isa-sacrifice niya yung paghihirap niya at sumali diyan sa kanyang kalukuhan. What is it in the organization? No, dapat ang organization din ay magnilay-nilay. Probably that sinasabi naming blue curtain secrecy, no? Yung subculture natin, no? Titingnan din dapat 'yan. There are also statements made a week ago na sana mag-recruit na lang daw ng high school. Our opinion on that matter is, that's going back to, old times na parang para sa akin Jurassic, pardon my word, no. Pero hindi 'yun ang sagot or solusyon sa problema eh. There are as much as educated police officers as high school graduates police officers na nagko-commit ng crime.
Okay.
But the issue here for me is about the leadership. No? Do we really have competent or efficient leadership in the organization?
Okay.
Dapat siguro yun din ang tingnan, no? Training and so on and so forth.
Pero matanong ko po kayo, hindi kaya sa recruitment ito? Dahilan sa, meron akong natatanda ang kwento nun, merong isang adjutant na biglang nagkaroon ng rancho. Dahil, sabi nung isa, ano ba ika yan? Sir, that's a cow. No, sabi nung amo, no, it's a goat. May kwentong ganyan eh. Anecdotal.
Yes, sir. Frankly speaking, sir, we don't like these things to happen in our organization. That's why our Chief PNP, Police Director General Oscar Albayalde, is very particular in internal cleansing. So, yung mga nangyayari na to, sir, I think it involves values. Kasi hindi naman, si Sir, sinasabi niya na hindi naman talaga to tinuturo sa mga members namin eh. Ang tinuturo namin dito is for them to do what is right sa organization. Kasi public servants kami eh. And we need the trust of the community.
Okay.
Kailangan namin yung tulong nila for us to realize our mandate. And yun nga sir, nakakalungkot lang isipin na because of the increase, despite of that increase, meron pa rin mga pulis natin na gumagawa ng mali. And we continuously doing our part in investigating this
Okay.
kind of situation.
So, internal affairs ito, dapat.
Internal, yes, sir.
Okay.
So we have this administrative actions,
mechanism, yeah.
mechanism, and we have this disciplinary machinery
Okay.
sa loob. So
Very
yun
good.
sir yung kinaka namin na at least yung community magtiwala sa amin, yung mga stakeholders namin, they could support us because of our commitment.
Mhm. Matagal na po kayo nakikipagkaibigan at katulong ng pulis. May napo na ba kayo sa recruitment?
Response muna now. We have a very good tandem now with Sir Oscar Albayalde and Gilor Elazar. They are really working people, no? Hands-on. I've worked with them very closely. And maybe this would lead to the solution. But then, as a reaction, do you know that the police are socially conscious? For Tondo and Caloocan victims who they arrest and extort money, they ask 5,000 to 10,000. But for Binondo victims, they ask 300,000 to 2 million. Okay? I have reported at least when I reported that to Sir Oscar Abayade, before he was chief in the NCRPO, he dismissed or maybe reassigned all of those police who were asking for 1 to 2 million. If you don't pay, we will charge you with how much drugs, 1 kilo, millions. But if you pay, maybe we'll just charge you with 1 gram. Things like that. Extortion. So it's huge money. So it's not just. But for our Tondo victims, I have referred a lot of these victims to UP Law Center because I'm helpless. How do I help them? They said, no, the police really planted this Cebu on me. Hindi talaga ako pusher. You drug test me. I have never used drugs before. But I do not have the 10,000.
Okay.
Okay. Then the recruitment. I have helped some policemen just recently in service. The take-home pay is barely 6,000.
Bakit?
Because they have to pay so much. They have
Mga
to
utang.
pay mga utang nila. They have to pay so much and they are in debt. So the take-home pay is just about 6,000. So how can
they survive?
You ask, it's not taught in school, but then how can they feed their families with all of, and not only that, many of them have to pay. I hope it's one thing that they can be, they have to pay for their, for
Weapons.
getting their weapons, they have to pay for even being given an assignment.
Really?
So that you're not sent to Mindanao, then you pay. So things like that.
Wow.
I hope it's an ongoing now, no? Because we're down in the community in doing this. We are the best partners of the policemen. And one of the solutions to this extortion thing of the police is for every victim to report. You report it because the 11 cases of 1 to 2 million, it was solved because the last 3 victims reported. So we got the names and reported it. But if you don't report, then you perpetuate a crime. 1 extortion becomes 2, 2 becomes 4, and it's unending. From 1 million, then later, or maybe it becomes 10 million because they will say, you're involved in the laboratory. I mean, with all the threats and with all the fear of being in jail, but then,
And considering the kind of jails that we have, no?
yeah, so sometimes,
It's just like death punishment na rin, no?
it's worse than death penalty. They would say, mabuti sana pinatay na lang ako. I would be happier if I'm killed. The
Yeah.
victims tell me.
You know, one of the agencies we invited to this forum is BJMP, which happens to be just across. Pero hindi yata nakatawid dahil traffic. No? So, I don't know. Maybe we will reserve another edition for it. Would you care to react about education and recruitment?
Actually, isasama ko na dun sa polisiyang inilabas namin. The policy principle is the drug dependency. We treat that as a health issue as part of the provision din naman ng 9165. Pagdating kasi sa higher education, sa sector namin, more on prevention kami. We will try our best so that our higher education students will not be involved that. Kaya yung drug testing is a way of determining ano ba yung mga drug education program na ginagawa namin na effective. At there are various drug education program in higher education institutions. Nabanggit nung matatapos yung estudyante sa criminology. Actually, meron silang natutunan dun sa NSTP because yung program of instructions developed by DDB to be part of NSTP was there. At meron ding DOH about health concerns. So may mga pag-uusap tungkol sa masamang idinudulot ng mga illegal drugs. So kung estudyante kayo sa higher education, even criminology, they will learn about those things.
Okay.
But on the professional subjects, maybe those are the things that our colleague is mentioning. Ang isa pang kagandahan dun sa health concern na binabanggit sa polisiya, binabanggit na nag-positive, confirm positive. Hindi pa babayaan siya na positive. The policy provides a process of intervention. At siguro, maganda na rin na naging outcome dahil lahat ng resulta ng drug dependency examination resulted sa counseling lang.
Okay.
Ibig sabihin, minor yung kanilang engagement, hindi talaga na dapat sa rehabilitation. But ang commission, kasama sa national policy, sa ICAD, we have ICAD, kasama din kami sa rehabilitation. Para in the event, meron talagang member of the students requires rehabilitations, we are there to support. Ang intention ay matulungan natin yung estudyante so that they will cope later in the higher education.
Yeah. Thank you. Short reaction from Caloocan. Yes.
this is the issue kasi are we even in agreement regarding the number, no? That 9 out of 10 cases of drug addiction belong to outpatient treatment. Doon pa lang mukhang hindi yata sold yung. I asked the DB directly, and the ASEC that we talked to said we cannot even espouse that number because one, maybe DOH does not agree with it. But I talked with DOH. Some factions of DOH do agree, the others do not. Kasi yun pa lang po, doon pa lang magkakaiba yung approach dun sa education. What happens to the minors that are caught in possession, are caught using, or are caught positive in the drug test, di ba? Kasi if you don't have that philosophy that they are best treated in the community setting or even in school, diversion automatically, which we do no dito sa Caloocan, malaking pagkakaibaan na agad ng approach. May ibang mga school tinatawagan yung barangay, worse tawagan yung police, di ba? But the worst thing that can happen is for the kid who is caught in possession to be immediately booked. Wala na yan. Sira na yung niyan. Sira na yung career niyan.
Okay.
Automatic. So from our point of view, and I'm told even from our DepEd supervisor that what we're doing is not very popular with the DepEd. We immediately bring them to an in-school diversion program. I called the police. Said, "Amin muna to. I will not give you the name. Give him one last chance. Diversion. Okay? Until pag hindi pa rin naging successful yung program naman sa kanya, then that's the time that we turn him over to you."
Okay. Very good. Short reaction from the National Barangay Operations
Nabanggit
Office.
po kasi yung ICAD, yung po ating Interagency Committee on Anti-Drug. Yan po ay meron pong 4 na cluster. Yung advocacy po, shared by the DILG, yung enforcement by the PDEA and the PNP, yung justice, DOJ, and rehabilitation and reintegration, DOH and DSWD. Nagtutulungan po sila. Ngayon nga po nagkakaroon po tayo ng training of trainers nationwide para po ma-reinforce po natin yung mga councils po natin. We are on our 4th cluster. Andun po sila ngayon sa Cebu City. And next week, nandun po sa Cagayan de Oro. So pinapatibay po talaga yung mga ADACs po natin.
Very good. Pero bago ko buksan ang ating bulwagan para sa mga kapatid sa media, let me just ask our gentlemen from PIDEA and PNP, would you care to tell us, ano ba ang profile, anong karaniwang profile ng isang drug dependent? Anong edad nito? Saan ito nakatira? Ano ang kanyang pinag-aralan kung meron man? Ano ang kanyang kakayahan economically? Would you care to tell us? Number 2, saan galing talaga yung shabu? Ito ba ay mula sa ang bansa? Ito ba ay mula sa langit? Dahil kung walang responsable dun sa shabu sa Valenzuela, 2 bagay lang yon. Una, yung shabu kusang pumasok sa Pilipinas. Pangalawa, yung shabu nahulog mula sa langit. Yung mga ganon.
Sir, in regard to the profile of drug users, initially the Dangerous Drugs Board released that basing on data coming from treatment and rehabilitation centers. So ang sabi po dun is 15 to 29. However, if you peruse from law enforcement data, the youngest arrested, or actually it's not arrested, the proper term should be rescued. The youngest minor rescued, based on an operation that happened sometime in 2014, is 6 years old. Ito po yung sinasabi ni Director General Aaron Aquino, na itong batang ito, si alias Tanya, may kasamang 15 and 16 years old. Sa bypass operation po na-rescue itong bata, and she was selling 50 grams. Under our parameters, law enforcement parameters, they're considered as high-value targets dahil sa hawak nilang ebidensya or dun sa na-recover na ebidensya sa kanila. So this brings to the fore the alarming rate at which drug syndicates are exploiting the use of minors in their operation simply because there is a law protecting minors from criminal prosecution. And which brings us again to the issue on what is the proper intervention in regard to minors, whether studying or not studying, who are rescued during anti-drug operations. Sabi nga po ni Director General Aaron Aquino, are you telling me now, simply because out-of-school youth yan, no intervention should be done for youth, either whether or not they're in school, or not studying, or simply in the community. Kaya tama po yung mga panukala na dapat proper intervention in tandem with the family and with the educational institution and the community.
Suppose there is no family.
Well then, sir, that's where the community comes in. That's where, kaya nga po, nagpapanukala si Director General Aaron Aquino nung sagip batang solvent or sagip batang lansangan. Dahil sabi niya nga po, these are the very children whom, pag pinabayaan po natin, sabi nga ni ma'am, they will be the potential criminals of the future. Pag hindi natin kinuha yan at tinulungan somehow, they will be the potential drug pushers, hold-upper, kidnapper,
Okay.
kung ano yan. Dahil they thrive on the streets with the hope of getting money, whether by legal or illegal means.
Okay. Yung shabu, saan galing?
Ang shabu po natin ay primarily still galing sa labas. While drug syndicates, the top three threat sources being Chinese drug syndicates, African drug syndicates, and Mexican Sinaloan drug syndicates, they either smuggle or manufacture depending on what opportunity is available to them. In fact, they will do both if opportunity presents itself.
Yung po bang PIDEA may koordinasyon sa DILG to check on foreign nationals in their respective barangays? Meron din bang impormasyon mula sa Bureau of Immigration to check on foreigners into the country who may have stayed longer than what is allowed by law?
Sir, yan po, pumapasok yung sinasabi na ICAD, na Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs, where the law enforcement cluster focuses on such concerns, while the other clusters do their work on advocacy, on management of cases, and rehabilitation and reintegration.
I'd like to believe that there are foreigners into this nefarious business, but we just cannot monitor where they are. Is it because the Bureau of Immigration has focused on Sister Patricia Fox and not on the syndicates? Well, that's another question. Okay. Questions from the media? Yes, please identify yourself and the entity you come from.
Morning po, Amos Marlastas from Live TV. Sir Carrion, tanong ko lang, no, medyo segue na ako. After the President's pronouncement na si Mayor Tony Halili is involved sa illegal drugs, sir, kamusta po yung monitoring ng PIDEA? Totoo po ba talaga, sir, na yung involvement niya sa illegal drugs?
Ongoing po yung validation, and I'm not privy, unfortunately, since I'm not part of the process itself, I'm not sure as to kung hanggang saan na nangyari yung revalidation natin. Doon sa narco list involving 93 government officials ranking from vice mayor and higher, of which majority of the list were reported to have been mayors. So, yun po. Yung revalidation nun has actually been undertaken by the Interagency Task Force composed of the PIDEA, the PNP Intelligence Group, the National Intelligence Coordinating Agency, and the ISAF.
Pero sir, galing po ba sa PIDEA, sir, yung sinabi ni Presidente na ano? I mean, sa inyo po ba nang galing yung ano yan?
Sir, lilinawin ko po, no, ganito yung proseso niyan. Una-una, yung tinatawag nyo kasing narco list, yan yung original list na nagmula sa Malacanang, binaba po sa law enforcement agencies like us, and together with the NICA and ISAP, for validation and constant revalidation. Kasama po dyan yung binitawan naming listahan na 207 barangay officials na na-declassify at dahil sa utos nga po ng Pangulo, nilabas natin before the elections in the interest of informing the public ng involvement ng mga taong tumatakbo for barangay positions na nanliligaw ng boto ng mga kababayan natin. So yun po yun. But as regards to PIDEA being the sole source of information, hindi po yun. In fact, Malacanang or the President has its own sources and then binaba po sa amin for validation and revalidation.
Follow up? Amos? Okay. Yes, please.
Good morning po, Celerina Montes sa Manila Tribune. Kay Director Carlos din. Sir, you have, I don't know kung tama yung pagkarinig ko na yung sa Shabu is 14.34 billion yung na-confiscate nyo so far. And for other kinds of drugs ay 20.77 billion, tama ba? Mas malaki yung
That
others.
includes shabu.
kasama
Shabu and
yung-
other drugs confiscated. But the bulk of our illegal drugs here remains to be shabu.
And regarding dun sa...
Billion to billion.
Billion, sir.
Regarding dun sa Sagimbatang solvent, when do you intend to launch that kung hindi pa? And do you have any estimate as to how many yung mga bata na possible na gumagamit na target ninyo?
Marami po yan, but definitely it will be piloted somewhere in the National Capital Region and eventually, hopefully, to be adopted as a program nationwide. Gaya ng ginawa po natin sa Balay Silangan. Sabi nga po ni Director General Aaron Aquino, why did we do it in Caloocan? Simply because Caloocan has the most active program of intervention for the illegal drug problem. And they have a program for users. Yung sa Balay Silangan naman is for drug offenders. Para nga ma-refocus sila at mabigyan sila ng pagkakataon na magbago at hindi na bumalik sa industriya ng pagbebenta.
So paano yung magiging proseso dun sa Big Batang Solvent?
Well, in a nutshell, it's still in the drawing board, ano? Pero definitely, we will involve a corporation here, tapping on their corporate social responsibility so that yung mga bata sa umaga, mag-aaral, pagdating naman ng hapon, may skills training upang hindi na sila matuto na sumali sa illegal na aktibidad na, o mag-snatcher ka, o kaya ito, dali mo itong supot na ito from point A to point B, ang laman pala, shabu. Mga ganong bagay po.
Pero sometimes homeless sila eh. So meron ba silang tirahan?
Well, gagawan din po yan ng intervention in tandem with the local government. Kaya nga po we will tap, again, the assistance of the LGU at para may pondo, we will knock on the doors of corporations who have, of most, if not all, have their corporate social responsibility programs.
So kailan yung target launch if ever?
We will keep you posted on this kasi na, ano yan, we're currently all doing coordination on this. In fact, baka sila sir, may meeting yata mamaya, no? In relation to this as well.
Okay, reaction.
Just a quick answer, no? That's why I mentioned mamamayan ayaw sa droga. One of the big programs was on the Sagip Bata, the solvent kids. We put them all in a very big section of the Bikutan jail, no? Kasi NCRPO, General Jewel Canson. And we built the school there. I mean, it became a halfway house, a shelter, until they recovered because it takes 2 months for them to detoxify. And it needs health professionals to help detoxify because they break out in really big boils. Yung pigsa talaga. All the skin, they break out during the detox process. Then there is the school there are therapists there are psychologists there. All of them are there until they are released again to the community. But as General Carion said, you need community participation. That's why I said a dedicated police head would do it because it's easy to raise funds from the corporate partners for programs like that, solid programs that will provide solid results. Huh? It's really unfortunate that the chains of police leadership, because the tandem of General Lacson and General Jewel Canson was when it happened. So we don't have to reinvent the wheel. We don't have to teach them. There's a whole module of that on how to, from
Go about
arrest
it.
up to release to the barangay, to the families. There's a whole module on that.
Good, very well. Reaction from the Philippine National Police.
Yes, sir. Actually, this is very timely since we have coming from education sector. So we have this program now in coordination with the National Youth Commission. Actually, sir, mayroon kaming incoming meeting initiated to sir ng mga individuals coming from our stakeholders na they are actually targeting 30 million youths na mag-undergo nito ng program. Ito sir yung parang with regard doon sa concern on health natin. So hindi lang target natin rito yung mga out of school youths but at the same time in coordination with the DepEd, so target natin yung mga estudyante rin dito sir na nationwide. We will be doing this as the PNP, one of the initiators here na mag-conduct ng mga programs doon sa mga kabataan natin. So that is part of our prevention initiative. So kailangan lang namin rito sir yung magkaroon ng matibay na cancer na ugnayan through memorandum of agreement with the other agencies sir.
Oh, okay. Pero sa tingin nyo ba may mga korporasyon na pwedeng tumulong dito? Meron.
Meron sir, in fact, may mga initial na nag-volunteer or baka nagpresenta na kay Director General Aaron Aquino. So, we will reveal this in due time kapag na-plansya na po namin yung program of implementation and instruction nito.
Well, this may be a bit illegal, pero hindi rin lang mapigil yung huweting sa Pilipinas. Baka pwede na rin mangaruling doon sa mag-huweting. Corporate social responsibility. Anybody would care to react?
May legal version naman yata yan, sir, through the PCSO. Baka doon na lang tayo.
Okay.
Baka magka-problema, sir, ng pulis kapag doon tayo.
Sabi niya, wag na lang papakialaman yung kay Pedro eh. Yung kay Pedro.
Kaya maganda yung epekto ng JMC resolution ng DDP tsaka ng DILG. Kasi nagkakaroon po ng interoperability yung mga ADACs natin. So, mandatory na ngayon sa higher ADACs, the municipal, the city, and the provinces to help the lower ADAC, particularly yung Barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Council. Kasi andun po ang laban.
Okay. Pero yung performance ng barangay officials, I've heard of certain barangay officials na yung mga estranghero sa kanyang barangay, nara-round up kaagad at na-i-report na visiting a drug den. I know of a case na 70 katao yung kinasuhan ng visiting a drug den, pero hindi ko ma-imagine kung paano magdodroga yung 70 katao sa isang napakaliit na entreswelo.
Kadalasan po sir, ang ginagawa po ng barangay, yung barangay secretary, meron po siyang register of barangay inhabitants. So basically, kilala po niya halos lahat ng tao na nandun sa barangay. Ngayon kung may mga tao na papasok sa barangay na sa tingin nila hindi taga ron at kaduda-duda, yan po agad po yung nire-report sa pulisya. So ganun po yung tulungan nun, sir.
Dapat ganun.
Yes, sir.
Pero hindi yung barangay captain na magsasabi, liga rito, anong ginagawa mo rito? Kumakain ako sa restaurant. Pagkatapos, sige, diyan ka muna, hindi naman kinausap. Dinala sa isang bahay. Pagkatapos, ang kaso mo, visiting a drug den. Ay, iba usapan yun. Yes, please.
I'd like to react. Buti yan dito yung DLG. I mean, obviously, not all barangays have the same number of inhabitants. I wish that when DLG comes out with memos and, BADAC, for instance, that they would consider that a barangay in Manila with 10 people is completely different from Bagong Silang with 240,000. Yes. So there has to be a different approach for small barangays, medium size, large barangays. We cannot ask the barangay captain of Bagong Silang to know everyone in his barangay. But we can ask that from Manila who has only 10 inhabitants. So yun lang po, nuances lang po sa approach. Kasi I've been reading the memos and parang, I don't know, there's not enough, there's not enough differentiation in there.
Okay, siguro, i-streamline natin.
Actually, sir, ang ginagawa po namin ngayon sa Project Monitoring Office po ng Anti-Drug, tinitignan po namin ang prevalence po ng addiction. So,
Okay.
dinidesign po namin yung community-based rehabilitation program intervention na naaayon. Kung slate ka, ito yung module mo. Kung ikaw ay moderate, ito ka. Kung ikaw ay extreme, ito ka. So, dabilang kasi ng barangay, sir, syempre pag naglabas ka ng issue once, hindi naman pwedeng hiwa-hiwalay. Kumbaga, paglabas mo ng issue once, kung barangay ka, barangay ka. Meron nga akong plano na suggestion na sana yung mga barangay, palakihin. Kasi di ho ba sa 7160, basta may 2,000 kang population,
Barangay ka na.
Or, before passage of 7160, barangay ka, talagang barangay ka. Like, for example, yung tinitiran ko po sa Manila, sa tingin ko, isang block ho kami, isang barangay po
Opo, tama
ganun
po.
po talaga. Inabot po yun yung 7160. So, siguro, kung gusto ho na maging uniform, katulad ng mga barangay ng Caloocan, Quezon City na malalaki, magkaroon tayo ng law na magre-recreate.
Naku!
Gulo yung malaki.
Masaya na naman yung mga congressmen dahil yung mga anak at apo nila pwedeng kumandidato doon sa bagong distrito, no?
I'm just quick reaction. Even, ang naisip ko lang po, if I'm going to draft the memo for the ALG, we can say na for barangays of this size, 1 to, let's say, 1,000, 1 to 5,000, this will be the expectation namin sa BADAC ninyo. If you're a barangay of, let's say, 10 to 30,000, you should have more than one BADAC. Or if you're barangay of more than 30,000, you should have at least 4 BADACs. Yun lang siguro yung suggestion. No? Simple lang po. You don't need to come up with the law just to... Kasi for a barangay of a big size, no, 50,000, expect mo sa kanila, isang BADAC lang yung requirement. Magkakatamaran po yun. Yun po yung normal.
Doon po sa JMC number 1 natin, talaga bang mandatory, isang BADAC po sa isang barangay. Pero, nire-require po ng JMC number 1 na magkaroon po ng BADAC auxiliary team. Kada 2,000 population, there will be 25 members of the BAT. Ang problema po natin ngayon ay hindi po lahat ng BAT o umaasa po tayo na with the reorganization ng BADAC and BAT ngayong after election, magkakaroon po ng training talaga na to work together with the PNP. Kasi po, ganito po yan eh. All the issuance ng DILG simula po noong 1998, panahon ni ERA, pagka 2015, iba po ang trabaho ng BADAC, iba ang KADAC, iba ang MADAC. Then, dumating po yung TOCAM protocol ng PNP. So, iba rin po yun. So, ang ginawa po ng DDB po natin, pinagsama yung MCs ng DILG and the TOCAM protocol ng PNP, kaya po nagkaroon po tayo ng DDB Resolution number 3, series of 2017. Kaya po sabi po ng PIDEA, inactive po yung BADAC. Correct. Kasi po, all of a sudden, ang trabaho ng BADAC biglang lumaki because of the TOCAM protocol. So, ang ginawa po natin, nag-meeting tayo with DDB, the PNP, the PIDEA, and the others, na dapat magkaroon tayo ng GMC. Kaya po lumabas yung Joint Memorandum Circular number 1, series of 2018. So, lahat po ngayon ng training ng BADAC, BATS, ay pare-pareho na po siya. So, isa rin sa inyo, talaga pong malaki pong issue ang mga barangay na malalaki.
Okay. Napakagandang pag-usapan talaga nito eh. Kaya lang mag-gerrymandering na naman eh. Maraming distrito naman, marami na naman congressmen. Kaya nandun daw maraming tambay sa Congress, sabi. Narinig ko lang. Pero anyway, that's another case. Yes, please. Very
Sir,
quick.
very good po yung at least yung inputs ngayon because at the end of the day, sabi nga po ni Director General Aaron Aquino, the fight against illegal drugs is fought on the very doorstep of every barangay. Ang importante po rito, active lahat ng mga BADAC dahil ang target po natin before the end of 2022, in fact, may yearly target po tayo na i-clear na barangays. And that is why we're doing double time. Katatapos po ng command conference namin, pinapa-inventory ni Director General Aaron Aquino, ilan na ba yung na-clear nyo per regional office? Have you been coordinating with DILG, with your police counterparts, with the local government units? Because the very first step in barangay drug clearing is that the barangay should have an active BADAC.
Okay. Very good. Tanong. Can you please update us kung gaano na na-utilize yung mega drug rehab sa Nueva Ecija?
Sir, the mega drug rehab is under the supervision of the Department of Health.
Okay.
So hindi po namin
Would you have any idea as to how many are there from the barangays?
definitely po yun, hindi na maximize yung capacity na 10,000. I think the population there is about 500 sa ngayon.
300
Kasi may nag-graduate po and then may papasok. So, yun po. But definitely,
We will formally write DOH.
the intention of
find out.
putting the facility was very good in that it was hoped that the other adjoining or nearby areas who do not have appropriate facilities can refer their patients there.
Yes. Would you care to react? please?
Sa drug clearing operation po, huwag niyo po kalilimutan yung CAV. Yun pong C, yung pong certify, trabaho po ng PNP yun. Tapos po yung A, attestation po, trabaho po yun ng local chief executive. At yung V, yung po ay validation, trabaho po ng PIDEA. Kaya it's a process po. Kaya may oversight committee. And we will be conducting the reorientation again of the oversight committee dahil po umiikot po yung mga members, yung mga regional directors po umiikot eh.
Direct, ano yung term mo ron?
CAV.
Hindi, yung reorientation?
Reorientation po.
Hindi rehab.
Hindi po.
Okay. Maganda na pa pag-uusapan ito eh. Dahil sa... gusto ko rin malaman, ano po ba ang update ninyo sa mga nakasuhan for illegal possession of drugs? Do you get to monitor how many of these charges by the police and the PIDEA have prospered at nauwi sa conviction?
Sir, we have an active case monitoring program and I believe the PNP has the same. Unfortunately, hindi ko po hawak yung data, updated data ngayon on the progress of cases filed. But definitely, our Legal and Prosecution Service manages a case monitoring program nationwide. Kaya pati regional offices po ng PIDEA may court monitors who attend together with the hearing or the agents who are prosecution witnesses in the case to monitor and at the same time report the progress.
Okay. Yes, please.
Actually, tutuhugin ko po yung comment sa kanyang earlier concern ni Madam Angsi, yung jail congestion. Last year, no, because of the case of Estipona versus Lobrigo, naglabas si Supreme Court ng memorandum, right? For plea bargaining, allowing plea bargaining for drug-related cases. And as early as February, naglabas na po yung mga korte may mga courts na who taken advantage of this memorandum because the survey, even in Caloocan, is that at least 65% of the cases who are of the people in jail are involved small offenses, small drug offenses. So ang dami po nag-avail nung plea bargaining arrangement with the Supreme Court. The estimate is that out of like 2,400 inmates we have, more than 1,000 will avail of it. So that's 50% at least. And nag-usap kami sa mga judge sa Caloocan, and they've been very supportive of that memorandum kasi nakita nga nila yung concentration ng drug cases. And luckily for us, we have a very strong community-based rehab program. So we took the challenge. We faced them. We told them that we will screen, assess all of these, nag-plea bargain for drug dependency examination. May mga doktor kami. And we've been doing that. We've been going to jail. My team has been going to jail. And paisa-isa, yung mga nag-a-apply. But my question is, what happens to the other cities who don't have that kind of a system? Sinong sasalo sa kanila pag may nag-apply ng plea bargaining? Are they immediately released? Hindi ba sila? Because the memorandum says that they have to go through counseling even if they are found to be negative sa drugs. So that yung parang yung discussion na yun po, the way it was crafted, it wasn't very kulang pa yata sa advice yung naggumawa ng memorandum sa circular kasi drug test lang eh. Hindi man lang klarong assessment o drug dependency examination, DDE talaga. So ibang mga cities, pag nag-negative, papakawalan nila. Pag kawalan nila, halos automatic yan, magre-recidivism yan, babalik ka sa kulungan kasi di dumaan sa proper counseling. So, yun lang po yung sanang maano. Kasi even if that memorandum circular of the Supreme Court is followed, is the community ready for them? Is the LGU ready for them once they're out? Or are they immediately ginagawa lang silang parang kakahuyan lang sila ng mga natin, ng mga kasama natin doon. Abangan lang sila para, di ba?
Okay. Napakahalaga nun. Pero binabanggit po ni Pangulong Duterte na maraming mga pulis at militar na napapatay sa drug operations. Gaano po karami? Dahilan sa nakakabahala ito kung ganong karami yung sinasabi ng Pangulo na napapatay, di talagang armado yung mga sindikato.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, hindi natin maiwasan yun na talagang part ng trabaho ng kapulisan natin saka yung mga other law enforcement agencies na magkaroon talaga ng casualties. But, of course, nakikita naman natin yung effort ng ating presidente and at the same time yung ating chief PNP na every time that there is a casualty, so talagang personally, pumupunta sila. Diba? But we have this kind of training on our part na yun nga na we just have this kind of this policy na yung zero casualty. Yun sana sir yung ma-attain natin dito, yung objective natin dito na talagang walang makuha sa kapulisan natin.
Nervous kasi ako doon sa sinabi ni Presidente na 2 hanggang 6 o 8 pulis ang namamatay every day. Baka magbabago na po yung dami ninyo.
Saka sir, walang data kasi sir tayo na yung kalaban natin, kung ano kalakas yung armas nila, di ba sir? So that is a situational case na palaging prepared dapat yung ating kapulisan saka yung other law enforcement.
But there was a report by real numbers na 87 as of some time yung napatay. So, hindi uubra na 1,000 na yung napatay dahil 2 taon na yung kampanya. Kung nag-average ka ng 2 hanggang 8, bago na yung pulis natin. Hindi po ba? Anyway, yes, questions please. Yes.
Sir, magandang umaga po kay Colonel. Sir, alam po natin yung kandaan ng PNP sa pagsugpo sa droga. Pero mukhang di yata na paghandaan yung mga kulungan na nahuhuli sa bawat istasyon. Kasi bawat presinto, ang pinukulong lang dyan, ang capacity lang yan, ay meron 20, 50, 60. Pero sa dami ng nahuhuli, araw-araw, gabi-gabi, pagsimula nung nandiyan na yung tambay, yung nakahubad, yung yung naninigarilyo, yung umiinom, yung nagdodroga, yung nagtutulak, sama-sama po sa kulungan. So, ito pa yung pinag-usapan natin, hindi sa BJP ha, presinto lang. Bigyan ko lang po kayo, halimbawa sir, Station 11 sa QCPD, ang capacity lang nila 36. Pero ang nakukulong 100 plus. Parang hindi mo napaganda ng PNP yung ganong sistema magsimula nung inilunsad ng ating presidente yung laban sa droga.
Yes, sir. Actually, sir, before that kind of operations, mayroon namang plano talaga, sir, yung PNP, yung sa modernization na program natin na at least ma-improve natin yung facilities natin. But as I said, as we know na talagang temporary lang talaga dapat yung namin, ditinin namin doon sa mga na-aresto namin or nakukuha namin na mga criminals or in violation with the law. So, ang ginagawa natin yan, mayroon namang yung mga sa process natin, may commitment order naman tayo na ginagawa doon sa mga BGMP natin na facilities. So, that's why, siguro dahil sa malakas yung kampanya natin with regard doon sa in compliance with the directives or in compliance with the law. So marami talagang nahuli yung police. So pero ginagawa ng paraan ho yan na yun nga yung pag-improve ng facilities ng PNP.
Senior Superintendent Dominic Bedia, hindi ba ho kasama rito yung nahuhuli ng bagansyang tulala? Ano? Meron pang classification ng bagansyang tulala. Oo. Kabisado mo yun, no?
Sir, yung ginagawa ng kapulisan natin in coordination with the local government, yung in-implement natin ho rito yung ordinansya. So may different peculiarity yung mga lugar na yan, yung mga city ordinances na yan. So actually, katulad po ng mga minors natin na nahuli, supposed to be, yun ang dinadala natin. It's either sa ihatid natin ng safety doon sa kanilang bahay or kung hindi natin alam yung bahay, so turn over natin po doon sa DSWD.
Okay. Follow up.
Kaya nga sir, kaya Atty. Bastilla.
Yes.
Sir, meron po tayo Anti-Drug Abuse Council.
Yes.
Ang papatakbo dito is sa lungsod o yung Vice Mayor. Sir, parang hindi po napapatupad to kasi bukod po sa Anti-Drug Abuse Council, meron tayong barangay Anti-Drug Abuse Council. Paano napapasunod yung mga barangay dito? Kasi dapat sa kanila nagsisimula para masunod yung droga natin sa bawat barangay. Pero mukhang hindi kumikilos itong mga ito. At doon lang ang malaking problema ng PNP, PIDEA, NBI, lahat ng drug law enforcement ay ayaw pumirma yung mga barangay kagawad chairman doon sa inventaryo at nagkaroon ng mulihan doon sa lugar nila. Nagtatago, tumatakbo. So, gano'ng kalakas yung pangil nyo dyan para utusan sila?
Very good question. So, BADACs report to KADAC in our case. So, they report to me basically sa Caloocan. The first thing that we did, June 2016, was to make sure that all the BADAC chairmen and kagawad for health and peace and order are on the same page as KADAC. So we conducted a 3-day seminar for each of them. So since 188 barangays sa Caloocan times 3, 5 batches. And yung 3 days na yun, we made sure that we learned accordingly. We explored the questions and then yung it's a workshop, a 3-day workshop. At the end of the 3 days, we felt more or less na we are on the same level. So in terms of the DILG requirements for compliance, in terms of PNP, and dun yung speakers natin from PIDEA, we had speakers from PIDEA. And more importantly, we had speakers from the health sector. So we developed more or less a community of para-counselors from these barangays. So hindi kami nahirapan later on because it became that became the take-off point for future discussions. So yung sinasabi niyo po na yung mga and na may mga kagawad o kapitan na hindi sumusunod dun sa is wala pong nangyari sa Caloocan yun, to be at least from my perspective. And hindi po natigil doon. We had that, we call it a carrot session. So we had a second one and a third one is continuing education for all of them. Now na napalitan na yung iba ng mga barangay chairman. So tutuloy na naman 'yun. Nakakatuwa po nangyari after nung second or third session kasi sila na nagtatanong sa mga pulis. May mga pulis kasi doon, for instance, na sinasabihan sila, o pumirma kayo dyan sa inventory na nahuli namin. So they said, no, we know our rights. Hindi naman kami kasama doon sa paglikom nyo ng mga na to, di ba? Ba't kayo pipirma? So it became a dialogue, a continuing dialogue. Hindi na tulad dati na ini-impose lang sa kanila at pinipilit
Pag
sila
hindi ka pumirma, damay ka dyan.
Yun, wala na yun. Kasi
Wala
very
na.
open yung very open po yung communications namin.
Hindi po kaya obligasyon ng DILG to look into the performance of these barangays under your office to find out sino yung pinakamagagaling na barangay? Dahil palagay ko, yun ang kailangan na malaman ng tao na may pag-asa sa barangay.
Actually po, yun po yung objective ng TOT natin. Una, turuan po yung mga focal persons ng DILG sa probinsya at regional na tignan ano ba ang functionality ng mga barangay. Meron po yan, may criteria po yan. Barangay, yung MADAC, yung KADAC, may PADAC. So hopefully, after the TOT at tatakbo siya ng third quarter sa assessment ng functionality, magkakaroon po tayo ng makikita po natin yung mga best practices.
Good.
Yes, sir.
At parangalan po ninyo yan. Parangalan ninyo. Mahalaga yan. Yes,
Yes,
please.
sir.
Please.
Hi, good morning. Angel Molito po from ABS-CBN. I'll address this question po siguro to everyone or we can answer. If you were to maybe give an assessment or rate itong drug war ni President Duterte, 2 years, ano pong score ang ibibigay nyo, let's say from 1 to 10? And also kasi si PNP chief earlier said that he's giving a passing grade to the PNP for their performance dito sa past 2 years. Ang question ko doon is, palagay niyo po ba ay pasado rin sa mga ibang ahensya yung ginawa ng PNP? And nakakasabay po ba sa pacing ng PNP or ng law enforcement yung mga iba't ibang ahensya like let's say sa rehabilitation and other agencies involved dito sa drug war?
Any taker so far? Oh, Madam Tessie. Coming from the outside, looking in.
2 years na yung anti-drugs campaign. I don't know if Ateneo or Development Academy of the Philippines, from the discussions, di ba, it's very, very obvious. It's such a huge problem that needs national solution. But 2 years into the drugs campaign, I still have to see a national action plan against drugs. A holistic action plan that will be, action is the key word, not the plan, no? There's a lot of good plans, but there's no action. That will be holistic from the lowest barangay, not just a barangay, the community, the family, the schools, the jail system, the criminal justice system above all, no? That badly needs an overhaul. Because the jail congestions, because the process is really, really slow. No? And then the intervention for the orphans, for the victims, no? Of the drugs campaign. What do you do with them? My challenge to the barangay is that, do you even have a study of how many are these people that would benefit from DSWD intervention, no? That needs help from the national government for their schooling, not just the conditional cash transfer, but to see to it that they're rehabilitated and things like that. So I still have to see a national action plan against drugs that will coordinate everything from the legislation up to the judiciary. No? The executive, legislative, judiciary comes together to implement the national anti-drugs action plan that will focus on the action rather than the plan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Reaction from the outside world mula sa academe. Ano po ang tingin ninyo? Action plan ang kailangan.
Kanina ko pa ito gustong sabihin kasi naririnig ko na may mention palagi yung intervention. But base doon sa statement ninyo, yung intervention is pagka yung tao ay naging user na. Nakalimutan natin yung intervention na dapat natin gawin bago maging involved sa drugs yung tao. Now, it's good that the PNP mentioned about a certain project, no? That will obviously sana mahila itong mga taong ito to be involved in drugs, no? Sa tingin kasi namin sa academe, sa pag-aaral ng criminology is that there seems to be a breakdown in institutions of social control in this country. And mainly the reason why people are into offending is because of one of which is the breakdown of social control. I mean, local government units. Barangay chairman, kayong in charge dyan sa barangay, do you even monitor your people who are the prospects there na pwedeng pumasok sa drugs? I mean, the church, regardless of religion, I mean, community, it's good that we have the group of Ma'am Angsi here. Mamayang ayaw sa droga and whatever the acronym that is, no? May ginagawa ba tayo na intervention to prevent in the first place a person from indulging into drugs? Parang ginagawa natin, isang leak sa faucet, tinakpalan natin yung leak but we are not really closing the main faucet na kung saan nanggagaling tubig. So, it's a cycle. Alam nating hindi mawawala yung paggamit ng drugs but if we are not doing anything to prevent a person from indulging into drugs, then whatever intervention or rehabilitation or treatment or correction, it will always be a cycle, no? So, yun lang sa akin.
Yeah, Derek.
Sir, we appreciate the comments of our esteemed counterparts from the private sector and from the academe. Again, the action plan that Madam Teresita Angsi is looking for perhaps is embodied in what the drain... Sana may taga-DTV rito, sir. Kasi sila yung sa policy making eh. Although participatory doon ng PDEA as one of the member agencies. It used to be called the NADPA, or the National Anti-Drug Program of Action, which now the DTB has modified into the PADS, or the Philippine Anti-Drug Strategy. And the main strategies or the main programs of which are supply reduction and demand reduction. Sir, yung hinahanap po ninyong intervention na hindi actually dapat reactive, but rather proactive is demand reduction. And down to the barangay levels or the anti-drug abuse councils, the different ADACs, all the way down to the barangay and going up to the LGUs, kasama po dyan ang preventive education programs. And in the implementation of the national program under the ICAD, where there is law enforcement, justice, advocacy, and then rehabilitation and reintegration. Yung intervention po nasa rehab and reintegration yon. Yung advocacy ang dapat pong bahala dyan sa preventive education programs upang maiwasan na yung mga tao bago pa mahikayat na gumamit o tumangkilik o sumali sa supply chain ng droga, nariyan po yung preventive education programs. Educate people on one, the ill effects of the use of dangerous drugs, and two, the scathing circumstances that can happen to you if you get involved in the illegal drug trade. That is precisely what is embodied in the program po, which is on preventive education.
Good.
So yun
Very
po
well.
yung hinahanap nila siguro.
Isang problema siguro dito, doon sa justice system. Sabi naman nila, may problema rin dyan dahil kung na-detain yung mga tao, sa tagal ng kaso, nagne-networking. At doon sa networking, nagkakaroon ng exchange ng skills. Pag ganito ang pagdukot mo dyan, ganito ang pagdadala mo, don't you think DILG can look into this seriously? Because the uniformed service is also under the control of the DILG.
So palagi sir, siya sabi po ni PDEA kanina yung Preventive Education Program po. Ang National Barangay Operation Office po ay nagbaba na po ng programa sa lahat po ng ating field offices. At kung gusto niyo po, pwede yung ma-download na sa website naman po.
We'll have the time to talk about it very
Yes,
well,
sir.
very clearly. Ang isang problema lang kasi rito, I don't know whether our colleagues from the media would agree. Hindi ka mananalong chairman kung hindi ka gagastos. At kung hindi ka gagastos, matatalo ka. Ang problema, kung yung komandidato at nanalo, Puer de los Buenos, mula sa shady characters yung pondo. So, kahit na magprosesyon yan ng mga adik, baka meron ding undertone.
Sir, actually ngayon, sir, pwede bang sabihin to? Nasa finalization stage na po natin yung creation ng adjudication board ng ICAD, sir. Dito po nililinaw kung alin ba yung mga listahan na dapat nating panatilihin nasa listahan, sino yung mga nasa listahan na dapat natin tanggalin, at yung po mga listahan na mga sinasabi yung shady characters na subject po ng intervention, ng investigation ng law enforcement agencies.
Yeah. Madam Tessie, tama kaya yung impression ko na the President launched the campaign against illegal drugs pero hindi na paghandaan kung papaano ipatutupad ito?
Yeah, yung coordination among all the other agencies seem to be still lacking, no? Quite obvious would be the jail congestion that's been congested from the very beginning, and then added the new problems like this. So, and then the funds for helping the children or the victims, no, is also not there. And number 3 would be the formalization of education in all educational institutions. The reduction of when I said intervention, it included the proactive intervention in all the schools from elementary grade up to tertiary on the effects of drugs, the counter effects, because we used to always do that before, but more institutional, and see to it that part of that education would be identifying these students and how to help them.
Okay, very well. I'd like to say thank you to everyone who joined us for this second birthday celebration. Now, let's look forward. Ano po ang nakikita ninyong mangyayari sa mga susunod na panahon sa kampanya laban sa droga? Yes, please.
Actually, siguro, I would like to react dun
Sige.
sa 2-year drug war ng administration. Yung effectiveness. Kung titingnan natin yung effectiveness ng 2 years, binabanggit nga ay parang premature pa. Yung long-term effect noon, may kita natin sooner or later. But dun sa short-term, we've seen about lots of plans and integration of various government agencies, especially dun sa leadership ng ICAD, because all agencies involved, nabanggit yung preventive educations kasi nandoon yung sektor na edukasyon sa preventive. So that all those people in a community disengage dun sa potential about that. Ang nakikita ko, pagdating dun sa, sabi nga, may nakagraduate, kung nakagraduate, babalik sa community, di magiging potential uli sila na mag-use o magtulak. With the mechanism established in higher education, tingin ko, with the policy on drug testing, with the policy of drug education, prevention and control in higher educations, and at including tong kasi simula pa lang nating pre-tuition and other school fees. Yung pre-tuition and other school fees, it captures those who are less fortunate in enrollment. So kung sila ay mahihirap or sila ay orphan na bumalik na o na-integrate na sa mainstream, pwede silang makapture. At once they are educated, magiging productive sila. In long term, kung i-assess natin yung effectiveness, makikita natin in long term na wala nang may engage once they are fully educated. So I guess that's...
the next issue there would be paano yung baon, paano yung pera para sa school projects. Dahil sa baka kung walang baon, magtutulak pa rin ng droga. Libre nga yung tuition.
Merong other programming na libre yung allowances, may resource allowances at saka stipend. So, kinakapture din ng higher education yung total educational expenses, not only tuition and other school fees, because that's only a one part of the expenses in education.
Very good. Yes, mula po sa inyo, ano nakikita nyong magaganap pa sa mga susunod na panahon?
I think I think we've been approaching the whole thing the wrong way. I don't think drugs is the problem here. It's addiction. Addiction is the real problem. Drugs is just ikukunin ko yun. never before since President Duterte, no other president has really brought this issue to the fore. And for that, now, despite all um, the negative talk and of course the questionable ways by which this is being carried out, we have to give credit to the man for really putting this as the national issue above all else. Ito na yata siguro talagang ano niya eh. He's an expert on this thing. But to concentrate the whole thing on drugs is I think it's wrong. The approach here should be what is addiction and how can we better understand addiction, because obviously there are people are addicted not just to drugs and there are legal drugs. People are addicted to alcohol, they're addicted to gambling, and they're all legal, right? So the inquiry should be beyond just drugs. I mean, obviously, andun yung pera sa drugs ngayon eh. But other countries have already moved forward. Portugal, obviously Amsterdam, Netherlands, they have moved forward. Kasi i-identify nila yung ano talagang societal problems beyond drugs. And I think that's where the inquiry should be. So all hands on deck, the academe, science especially, the health, to really address the modern problem of addiction.
Thank you. Yes, please. Anything you'd like to say about the future of the police, especially those who graduated from criminology schools?
Natawa yung partner ko dito. Well, in partnership with Shed, of course, we will continue to hone our future police officers, graduates of criminology, na hindi lamang i-develop yung kanilang competence, kundi yung kanilang character as well. And hopefully in their 4 years of at least 4 years of stay in college, makapag-contribute kami dun sa pag-strengthen ng kanilang character at ng pagpumasok sa serbisyo sa dami ng temptation dyan, ay hindi sila matukso at pinapanalangin din namin. Hopefully the organization of PIDEA, any law enforcement agency, at this point in time, we'll have to reassess again, inuulit ko, yung subculture ninyo. Admit the fact that there are some blue curtain secrecy within the organization that's probably influencing the behavior of the new law enforcement officers coming from the academe. No? So para hindi man masayang yung 4 na taon na pinag-aralan nila at 6 months pa lang na-tempt na. No? So we will continue to provide quality criminology education, and hopefully in the future, magbago rin ang pananaw sa bansang ito about criminology, that we are not only producing law enforcement officers. We are into research and scholarly academic research on anything that involves crime, and that's what we are doing right now with the new PSG that we have from CHED. We are evolving as a field of study in this country. No? So thank you so much, Mike.
Very good. Yes.
Yes, sir. In behalf po, sir, ng aming ng PNP, saka yung leader namin, yung Chief PNP namin, si Police Director General Oscar Albayalde, we would like to greet you. Happy birthday, sir.
The program.
Second anniversary. So, rest assured, sir, that PNP will do its best in community policing, and we cannot do this alone without the support coming from the community. And of course, we are much particular in community organizing and mobilization. So that's why, sir, in partnership sa mga stakeholders natin, gumagawa po tayo ng mga prevention, and of course, ito po, sir, yung in charge yung aming directorate, yung recovery and wellness program in coordination, of course, from PDEA and guidance coming from the ILG, na talagang ma-realize po natin ito. Because this is very important since crime happened or starts sa community.
Mhm.
So kailangan lang natin yung ugnayan coming doon sa community groups coming from community para at least yung PNP natin ay may sa tiwala ng Filipino people talagang maasahan nila in terms of community policing and law enforcement.
Very good from DLG.
Sa ngalan po ng aming kalihim, Secretary Anyo, ay inaasahan po namin yung sama-samang pagkilos, pagtutulungan ng ating mga local government units, kasama po yung mga members po ng ICAD natin. Lalong-lalo po yung community dahil po drug problem is everybody's concern.
Yes, from PIDEA.
Again, sir, on behalf of Director General Aaron Aquino, who is also the chairman of the Interagency Committee on Anti-Illegal Drugs, we would like to greet the Wednesday Roundtable program here at Lido for happy anniversary, happy second anniversary. And thank you very much for the opportunity you've given us, sir. The PIDEA will continue to perform its mandate as the lead agency in implementing Republic Act 9165, or the Comprehensive Dangerous Drugs Act of 2002. We have recently celebrated our 16th anniversary, and as Director General Aaron Aquino said, much has been done and much has yet to still be done in responding to the problem on illegal drugs. At kailangan po rito ang tulong ng buong bansa. All sectors should be on board because the solution to the drug problem lies beyond law enforcement alone. And we would like to enlist the whole country to rally behind us in this campaign. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you very much. Yes, Madam. What do you foresee?
Well, I recall the formation of the National Anti-Kidnapping Task Force during the height of the kidnapping. We don't need something like that now because it's beyond task force. But what we need is for all the implementing agencies to really work together to address the two main issues, the supply and the demand. Of course, the demand would be the education, providing livelihood. If you have livelihood, then you don't have standbys, you don't have drunkards in the streets and everything. You don't even have the basag kotse, you don't have the petty thefts, the hold-ups, because they do have livelihood. So that's the supply side. But the demand side, the supply side is to coordinate closely with the source, the financiers. No? We've been getting all those in Chinelas and Sando, but how about the financiers? No? Working closely, for example, with China, no? That from the source itself, no? To address that question. I have already relayed to the Chinese embassy the need for a full-time police attaché to work closely with the national police on addressing a lot of these new problems that have been coming up. Just even the assignment of a full-time interpreter to us as interpreter when you arrest all these Chinese nationals in the drugs laboratories so that they can share information, no? Who is the mastermind? Ang nahuhuli natin are the cohorts, the workers who were forced into that because of the illegal recruitment. They were promised jobs. When they find no jobs, then they act as workers in the drugs laboratories. They act as couriers, or else they owe a lot of money in online gambling. So they're forced into selling shabu and all these things. So work closely with the main problem, the supply side, would be the financiers, the big-time financiers, and the source of the drugs.
Would you also move for a review of the anti-money laundering laws that we have? Because we've heard that there are banks na labas-masok yung pera in the millions and nobody touches them because they're good clients.
Definitely. The online gambling is billions. And a lot of that is now an excuse for the money laundering. No? It's a very good ploy for money laundering. That's why I said the National Action Plan, it has to have everything from the prosecution up to how the money goes in and out, freezing the assets and everything. No? So it takes national government because it is not just a simple problem, so it needs a national solution.
Thank you very much. May I call on Monsignor Pepe Quitorio? Final words sa ating mga susunod pang pagtatanghal under Areopagus Communication, Monsignor.
Thank you very much. Thank you for being here. This is our pangalawang forum. The first one is in Aristocrat, which we hold every Monday, and here every Wednesday for the last 2 years. This is our second year, right? So we will continue. Our only purpose is to keep the talk going because there's no alternative but to talk about things. And when we do that, we help. Thank you.
Maraming salamat po. Let me end our edition about drugs with a simple quote from Barry McCaffrey. Ang sabi niya, if you want to fight a war on drugs, sit down at your own kitchen table and talk to your own children. With that, we bring to a close another edition of our Wednesday Roundtable at Lido. We will have pansit and lechon today. Maraming salamat po. Magandang araw.